Chapter 24 of Left Behind, the first book of Left Behind series, Left Behind, Part 2, page 441. All the way to the United Nations, he agonized. Do I pray? He asked himself. Do I pray the prayer as so many of those people said yesterday morning? Would I be doing it just to protect myself from the voodoo or the heebie-jeebies? He decided that becoming a believer cannot be for the purpose of having a good luck charm. That would cheapen it. Surely God didn't work that way. And if Bruce Barnes could be believed, there was no more protection for believers now, during this period than there was for anyone else. Huge numbers of people were going to die in the next 7 years, Christian or not. The question was, then where would they be? There was only one reason to make the transaction. He decided if he truly believed that he could be forgiven and become one of God's people, God would become more than a force of nature or even a miracle worker to Buck, as God had been in the skies of Israel that night. It only made sense that if God made people, he would want to communicate with them, to connect with them. Buck entered the UN through hordes of reporters already setting up for the press conference. Limousines escorted VIPs and crowds waited behind police barriers. Buck saw Stanton Bailey and crowds waited behind police barriers. Buck saw Stanton Bailey in a crowd near the door. What are you doing here? Buck said, realizing that in 5 years at Global, he had never seen Bailey outside the building. Just taking advantage of my position so I can be at this press conference. Proud you're going to be in the preliminary meeting. Be sure to remember everything. Thanks for transmitting your first draft of the theory. Peace. I know you've got a lot to do yet, but it's a terrific start. Gonna be a winner. Thanks, Buck said, and Bailey gave him a thumbs up. Before Buck realized that if that had happened a month before, he would have had to stifle a laugh at the corny old guy and would have told his colleagues what an idiot he worked for. Now, he was strangely grateful for the encouragement. Bailey could have no hint what Buck was going through. Chloe Steele told her father of her plans to finally look into local college classes that Monday. And I was thinking, she said, about trying to get together with Hottie for lunch. I thought you didn't care for her, Rayford said. I don't, but that's no excuse. She doesn't even know what's happened to me. She's not answering her phone. Any idea what her schedule is? No, but I have to check my own. I'll see if she's flying today. Rayford was told that not only was Hottie not scheduled that day, but also that she had requested a 30-day leave of absence. That's odd, he told Chloe. Maybe she's got family troubles out west. Maybe she's just taking some time off, Chloe said. I'll call her later when I'm out. What are you doing today? I promised Bruce I'd come over and watch the Carpathia press conference later this morning. What time's that? 10 our time, I think. Well, if Hottie's not around for lunch, maybe I'll come by there. Call us either way, hon, and we'll wait for you. Buck's credentials were waiting for him at an information desk in the UN lobby. He was directed up to a private conference room off the suite of offices into which Nikolai Carpathia had already moved. Buck was at least 20 minutes early, but as he emerged from the elevator, he felt alone in a crowd. He saw no one he recognized as he began the long walk down a corridor of glass and steel and leading to the room where he was to join Steve. He saw no one he recognized as he began the long walk down a corridor of glass and steel leading to the room where he was to join Steve. The 10 designated ambassadors representing the permanent members of the new Security Council, several aides and advisors to the new Secretary General, including Rosenzweig, Stonigal, and various other members of his International Brotherhood of Financial Wizards, and of course, Carpathia himself. Buck had always been energetic and confident. Others had noticed his purposeful stride on assignment. Now, his gait was slow and unsure, and with every step his dread increased. The lights seemed to grow dimmer. The walls close in. His pulse increased, and he had a sense of foreboding. The gripping fear reminded him of Israel when he believed he was going to die. Was he about to die? He couldn't imagine physical danger, yet clearly people who had gone Carpathia's way, or in the way of Stonigal's plans for Carpathia, were now dead. Would he just be another in a line that stretched from Carpathia's business rival in Romania years before? Through Dirk Byrne and Alan Tompkins to Eric Miller? No, to Eric Miller? No. What he feared, he knew, was not mortal danger. At least not now, not here. The closer he got to the conference room, the more he was repelled by a sense of evil as it personified in that place. Almost without thinking, Buck found himself silently praying, God, be with me, protect me. He felt a sense of relief. If anything, his thoughts of God made his recognition of evil more intense. He stopped 10 feet from the open door, and though he heard laughter and banter, he was nearly paralyzed by the atmosphere of blackness. He wanted to be anywhere but there, and yet he knew he could not retreat. This was the room in which the new leaders of the world congregated, and any sane person would have given anything to be there. Buck realized that what he really wanted was to have been there. He wished it were over, that he had seen this welcoming of new people, this brief speech of commitment or whatever it was to be, and was already writing about it. He tried to force himself toward the door, his thoughts defeating. Again, he cried out to God, and he felt a coward, just like everyone else, praying in the foxhole. He had ignored God for most of his life, and now when he felt the darkest anguish of his soul, he was figuratively on his knees. Yet he did not belong to God, not yet. He knew that. God had answered Chloe's prayer for a sign before she had actually made the spiritual transaction. Why couldn't he have answered Buck's plea for calm and peace? Buck could not move until Steve Plank noticed him. Buck, we're almost ready to begin. Come on in. But Buck felt terrible, panicky. Steve, I need to run to the washroom. Do I have a minute? Steve glanced at his watch. You've got 5, he said, and when you get back, you'll be right over there. Steve pointed to a chair at one corner of a square block of tables. The journalist was in Buck liked it. The perfect vantage point. His eyes darted to the nameplates in front of each spot. He would face the main table, where Carpathia had placed himself, and directly next to Stonegal, or had Stonegal been in charge of the seating. Next to Carpathia on the other side was a hastily hand-lettered nameplate with personal assistant written on it. Is that you? Buck said. Nope. Steve pointed the corner opposite Buck's chair. Is Todd Cawthron here? Buck said. Of course, right there in the light gray. The Brit looked insignificant enough, but just beyond him were both Stonegal and Charcoal and Carpathia. Looking perfect in a black suit, white shirt, electric blue tie, and a gold stick pin. Buck shuddered at the sight of him, but Carpathia flashed a smile and waved him over. Buck signaled that he would be a minute. Now you've got only 4 minutes, Steve said. Get going. Buck pushed his bag in a corner next to a heavy-set, white-haired security guard, waved his old friend Shane Rosenzweig, and jogged to the washroom. He placed a generous bucket outside and looked out and locked the door. Buck backed up against the door, thrust his hands deep into his pockets, and dropped his chin into his chest, remembering Bruce's advice that he could talk to God the same way he talked to a friend. God, he said, I need you. And not just for this meeting. And as he prayed, he believed. This was no experiment, no half-hearted attempt. He wasn't just hoping or trying something out. Buck knew he was talking to God himself. He admitted he needed God, but he knew he was lost and sinful as anyone. He didn't specifically pray the prayer he had heard others talk about, that he knew he was as lost and as sinful as anyone. He didn't specifically pray the prayer he had heard others talk about, but when he finished, he had covered the same territory and the deal was done. Buck was not the type to go into anything lightly. As well as he knew anything, he knew there would be no turning back. Buck headed to the conference room more quickly this time, but strangely with no more confidence. He hadn't prayed for courage or peace this time. This prayer had been for his own soul. He hadn't known what he would feel, but he didn't expect this continued sense of dread. He didn't hesitate, however. When he walked in, everyone was in place. Carpathia, Stonegal, Todd Cawthron, Rosenzweig, Steve, and the financial powers and ambassadors, and one person Buck never expected, Hadi Durham. He stared, dumbfounded, and as she took her place as Nikolai Carpathia's personal assistant. She winked at him, but he did not acknowledge her. He hurried to his bag, nodded his thanks to the armed guard, and took only a notebook to his seat. While no special feeling had come with Buck's decision, he had a heightened sensitivity that something was happening here. There wasn't a doubt in his mind that the Antichrist of the Bible was in this room. And despite all he knew about Stonegal and what the man had engineered in England, had engineered in England despite the ill feeling that came over him as he observed his smugness, Buck sensed the truest, deepest, darkest spirit of evil as he watched Carpathia take his place. Nikolai waited until everyone was seated, then rose with pseudo-dignity. Gentlemen and lady, he began, this is an important moment. In a few minutes, we will greet the press and introduce those who shall be entrusted to lead the new world order into a golden era. The global village has become united, and we face the greatest task and the greatest opportunity to ever bestowed upon humankind. Okay, so that's chapter 24 of the first book of the Left Behind series, Left Behind. Take everybody. Another video from the IS-34 Tribulation Force channel. Take everyone.